It started on one of those nights that was never supposed to mean anything. My best friend dragged me out of my post-breakup misery with a simple promise: one drink, one dance, and no drama. Famous last words, right? Because by midnight, I found myself in a tattoo parlor with a complete stranger named Riley, a woman who, in just a few hours, had made me laugh so hard I completely forgot how sad I'd been. We met at this tiny queer bar downtown. You know, the kind of lights are way too dim and the drinks are way too strong. She was up on the karaoke stage, singing horribly and without a single ounce of shame. When she caught me laughing from my corner, she just grinned, pointed right at me, and declared into the mic, "This song's for you, beautiful." I didn't know her from anyone, but I was completely captivated. She had this messy, short hair dyed a deep forest green and eyes that just dared you to misbehave. By the end of her terrible, wonderful song, she was standing right in front of my table. "Your turn," she said, holding out the microphone. I just shook my head. "Oh no, I don't sing." She didn't miss a beat. "Then you owe me a drink." And that's how it all began over. Sticky shots of tequila and a playlist of bad pop songs. Riley was pure, beautiful chaos wrapped in a layer of unshakable confidence. I was the careful one, the responsible one, but somehow with her, I didn't want to be careful anymore. At 2 a.m., when the bar was closing down, she turned to me with that mischievous look in her eyes and said, "Let's do something crazy." I was already laughing. Like, what? "Let's get matching tattoos." I just stared at her. "Matching? Yeah," she said, her smile widening. "Something small, something we can regret together." It sounded absolutely ridiculous. Insane. Even, but the idea of saying no to her, that felt even more ridiculous. So we stumbled down the street to a 24-hour tattoo shop, our laughter echoing in the quiet night. We sat side by side while the tattoo artist raised the skeptical eyebrow at our drunken energy. "All right, what are we getting?" he asked, looking a little tired. Riley glanced at me, a spark in her eye, and then said, "2 puzzle pieces. They fit together." I froze for a second. My sensible brain was screaming, "What are you doing?" But another part of me thought it was perfect. "That's kinda cute," I admitted, a little surprised at myself. "Exactly," she beamed. "Now we're connected, even if we never see each other again." I tried to tell myself it was just a story. Something to laugh about later. A spontaneous tattoo with a stranger, why not? It's what you do in your 20s. But when that needle touched my skin, and I looked over and saw the way she was watching me, her usual wide grin softening, her eyes flickering with something quiet and warm, I realized this might not be just another wild night. This felt different. Afterward, we stood outside the shop, pressing our wrists together. The 2 little puzzle pieces aligned perfectly. She took a picture, and then she leaned in and kissed me. It wasn't a rushed, drunken kiss. It was steady. It was certain. And in that moment, the entire city felt different. The streetlights glowed a little softer. The air buzzed a little quieter. I went home that night with her number in my phone and her name stuck on a loop in my head. We started texting the next day. The texting turned into long phone calls. The calls turned into meeting for coffee, which somehow always turned into dinner, which then turned into staying over for just one night. But one night became 2, and then it became weeks. By the time I finally realized I was completely, irrevocably falling for her, it was far too late to even think about turning back. Loving Riley wasn't easy. She was unpredictable, fiercely spontaneous, and sometimes emotionally reckless. But God, she made me feel alive. She challenged me to stop hiding behind my carefully constructed routines and my fear of what other people thought. She would say things like, "You deserve to take up space, and you don't need to be perfect to be wanted." And I started to believe her. 3 months after that first night, she moved into my apartment. Temporarily, of course. Her toothbrush appeared in my bathroom, and it never left. Neither did she. Sometimes we'd be cooking or watching a movie, and we'd press our wrists together and joke, "Guess we really are stuck now." But it wasn't always easy. Sometimes when her wildness crashed heading into my need for caution, I'd stare at that little black puzzle piece on my wrist and wonder if it was a mistake, a permanent reminder of a reckless decision. Then one night, after a huge argument about her quitting her job without even telling me, she came home close to midnight. Her eyes were red, and she looked smaller than I'd ever seen her. "I'm sorry," she whispered, her voice cracking. "I know I'm not good at this, at being serious, at being still, but I don't want to lose you." She held out her wrist, and our matching tattoos seemed to glow under the dim kitchen light. "We got these for fun," she said, her voice thick with tears. "But they mean something now, don't they?" I nodded, my own tears blurring my vision. "Yeah," I managed to say. "They do." We promised to start over that night. Not a clean slate, but a better one. To keep choosing each other not because of some silly tattoo we got on a whim, but because we wanted to build a life together. It's been 2 years since that night. We still fight, we still make up, and we still trace those little puzzle pieces when we hold hands. When people ask about them, they always expect a funny, throwaway story. "Oh, we met at a bar and got drunk tattoos," Riley always says with that familiar, charming grin. But later, when we're alone, she gently kissed the ink on my wrist and murmur, "Best bad decision I ever made." And every single time she says that, I realize it. She was never the mistake. The tattoo was never the regret. The real surprise was how one wild, impulsive night turned into a love that stuck. It turned into my everything. Thanks so much for watching and letting me share my story with you. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a like and consider subscribing for more. See you next time!